what's what? It's what's what? Hey, welcome everybody to What's What with Old Man Liver. This is my show where I get to do whatever the fuck I want, talk about what I want, say whatever the fuck I want, and interview who I want. So thank you if you've checked out any of the previous podcasts. We're stepping it up with the much nicer studio and shit. I guess that's what happens when you fucking make a little money or whatever, but I mean, whatever the fuck. But anyway, today we have a very special guest, Bryan Hopkins, the singer of Elvis Monroe, and he is the host of his own podcast, Hero's Journey, and he's really fantastic in the sack and has a wonderful cracker. A lot of people don't know that, but you know, this show's about all the inside info, so we're going to get deep inside Bryan Hopkins today, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Bryan?
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I don't know what I just volunteered to do.
Yeah,
be your first podcast inside
well, you're
here.
not getting paid, I'll tell you that.
I
Except
know.
with my juker. So
Please don't get deep inside me. We'll just leave it out here.
well, all right, whatever. So anyway, you got any websites to promote? Or handles and shit?
Of course. I'm the lead singer of the band Elvis Monroe, elvismonroe.com. I have a podcast right here at this studio, Sticky Paw Studios, called Hero's Journey Podcast. And yeah, so elvismonroe.com, Hero's Journey Podcast.com. It's HEROES. Everyone always messes that up. And I know your smart self would have messed that up as well. Dude, I just can't believe that you put Coke in your whiskey there.
I was not on purpose. You fucked it up. I did. I don't normally recommend anybody mixing Coke with my whiskey, but if it's already done, I'm not going to throw it away. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it, like 10:30 in the morning?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm 2 hours late to getting hammered. So, so you got all the, I'm sure, social media shit. I'm not good with all that crap like the, Dick Docs and Tic Tacs and shit, but I assume you are. Like you're always promoting shit.
I'm trying. I do my very best. And it's called Instagram and TikTok, and I suck at it too. I really do, because I think it's an age thing.
Somebody told me about YouTube, and they said I wasn't familiar with it, and they're like, it's like you porn, but it's not as much sex. And I'm like, okay, and now I understand what it is at least. I know. I know a couple of the porn sites,
Right?
YouTube,
I'm sure you do.
Xhamster and xnxx.com and Pornhub. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still here?
Yeah, I can't believe that. Why would you want me on the show? I'm like,
dude, we've been friends forever. So even in my story are the most fucked up, because if you read my book, What My Dad Taught Me, I do talk about some of our times of being broke together in the fucking apartment in Van Nuys.
I haven't read the book. I'm in the book?
Yeah, you know how to read, right? Oh, and if you don't, you can still get the book, because there's really pretty stick figures with each chapter thing. Yeah. So
when you get the audio version, I'll read it.
Yeah. But, yeah, there might be an audio version. I don't deal with that shit. But yeah, so I talk about Bryan and I shared an apartment back in Van Nuys when we were broke as shit. And
he used to burn the garbage instead of taking it outside. Literally burn the garbage.
It was easier to just throw it against the wall than to bag it up and put it in a can and push it out and wait for the guy to pick it up once a week. So we just burned it every couple of days.
Bro, they had to. I remember, you know how in LA during the riots, remember the riots?
Oh, yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
so
we had some great parties.
Yes, we did on top. The city's burning and we're on top of the building having a party. But the landlord goes and puts bars on our apartment.
Yes.
And why? To keep us in, so that way he could collect the rent.
Well,
this is the truth.
It is, because every time we burn trash inside, we got in trouble. I was like, why is that? Only one time did it get out of control where the fire department had to come. So but she was always upset with us, and she'd come knocking on the door when we'd have a party or something. We'd always jump out the window and run down the street and come back when she was gone. So eventually she put bars on the windows, and people are like, oh, is this a dangerous neighborhood? And I'm like, yeah, well, yes, it is. But they aren't there to keep people out. They're there to keep us in.
True
so
story.
We can't run away.
I think James took charcoal, the burned charcoal, and started drawing on the walls.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't have artwork. He was a great artist.
Right. It was great artwork, yeah.
But he that was his charcoal walls, and he would paint our artwork. And
yes. And do you remember the stray cat that came around and hung out with us for a while, and we took him in, and after 2 weeks he realized it was better on the street? I'm not kidding. He took off. He was like smart. So, and we were so fucking broke. We wouldn't say we're going to bed at night. We just said we'd go to floor. And we just lay down.
There were
we didn't have
mattresses.
Yeah,
this
no
is true.
Furniture, no mattresses, nothing.
Oh man,
yeah, it was. But we had great times, right? Like the parties on the roof.
The parties on the roof. You know,
during each natural disaster.
Yeah, when we had the floods. Remember the floods? We had the floods. We had a party.
Riots.
We had a party.
We had some mudslides and
mudslides.
Earthquake, the big
rob a bank.
Yes,
and throw a party.
Yes, those are good times. I think that was the first time I tried mushrooms. Was in that apartment complex, and
they weren't mushrooms that we bought. They were mushrooms that just were growing in the corner from the garbage.
I'm not even sure if they did anything. I just found some mushrooms growing in the fucking corner of the house. But it was a disaster. We had like 9 people in a 2-bedroom. With no furniture, and I think I only knew like 4 of the people, and I'm not sure any of us knew. They might have been just squatting the whole time, but yeah, we had some fucked up times back then. But it was, we were both broke as shit.
Yeah,
and something about going through broke periods together and having that bond. And a lot of people may not know this, but Bryan was the original singer of my band Early Dawn.
True story.
So sure, he's got all these Elvis Monroe things with the Lifehouse guys and all that shit. But his claim to fame is fucking first singer of Early Dawn, damn it.
It's true. I saw, how that came about? I saw you playing in the park with James.
Yes.
You guys were playing in the park, and James decided he's moving back to Texas. And bam, here we are. And I auditioned to be in the band. And the thing was, that's how I got in the group. I literally paid for a month. I was able to pay for 1 month, and you couldn't kick me out. Even though how bad I was, you couldn't kick me out.
You were not bad.
Because I paid for, going into it, I didn't know if I was going to be bad or good.
You had a great voice from the
Thanks,
start,
man.
I'm just saying.
Thanks. Thank you. It was you guys were inspiring, and then I joined the band. So, are you still playing guitar? Inspiring. Is Old Man Liver playing guitar?
I might play the occasional guitar.
Yeah.
Not well.
What's your axe again? It's a
78 Gibson Les Paul Black Beauty. I'm just saying. I'm not married, but if you can marry an inanimate object, and I have actually made love to her.
Do you clean it?
You're talking about my juker or the guitar?
Both.
Who's interviewing you here? Wait a second. So you can't get out of your podcast.
I can't.
So let's get back to you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Where are you from originally? I know Oregon, but what part of Oregon?
I am from Salem, Oregon. Okay. I grew up in Salem, Oregon. I have a brother named Cody who, we should have had on this. He would have.
Oh, he'll be here. You believe me. I know Cody.
Yeah,
he'll be on the show.
Okay, so then I have a sister Angel and sister Buffy. My parents, Rocky and Terry, and I'm Native American Indian.
Yeah. So what was it like being Sioux growing up in Salem?
Well, it was kind of like you haven't. I'm kidding. No,
you can't stop.
I can't. No, it's. Let's just put it this way. I was the darkest kid in the school. Cody just brought this up to me the other day. We were Huck and Finn. What's that play? We were in the play. You know what I'm talking.
If I had a brain cell left,
yeah, whatever.
I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Stop drinking that. But anyway,
not that.
So they had
other drugs.
I auditioned for Injun Joe for the play, right?
Yes.
Huck and Finn. Huck, and I got Ben, the old black guy. That was the part I played.
You're not that dark.
I was the darkest kid in school. So let's just put it that way. They were like, it was funny. My brother just brought that up. He goes,
you dealt with a bunch of racism.
Yeah, and my Italian friend Grant gets Injun Joe.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I was like, what's going on?
So that's strange to me because growing up in Louisiana, actually Indians were cool. Like that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't we would never, picked on someone so it had to be like a completely different vibe. Is it still like that now, do you think? Or?
I don't know. I've been away from it for so long, and being 6'3", like 230.
I was going to say, I wouldn't pick on you.
Nobody really
I was going to say,
bothers me.
I'd be scared to have bullied you. And,
I'm sure Old Man Liver whiskey is amazing, but I've never drank in my life. So because being Native American
of the
Indian,
background of alcoholism,
exactly, all that stuff, I just know that I can't handle it like you. But
I'm not saying I handle it. I just keep walking around and shit.
You're functioning. I can't believe
I'm not.
Old Man Liver has me here at 10 a.m. in the morning. I rolled up all puffy.
Night.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I go to bed about 3 in the afternoon and then sleep till about fucking 2 in the morning. Then I wake up and I start getting my creative juices going, and doing whatever drug and making whatever song, and and that's what I do, and I'm kind of a vampire routine. So
I know this is a podcast. I'm your guest, but I got to ask you, what the hell is this book about?
Oh,
I can't get it out of my head. You said Old Man Liver wrote a book.
Yeah, so fucking it's been out for like 3-4 years because I wrote. Well, the second edition just came out after I acquired the Pioneer Saloon and started the whiskey. Because when I wrote the book, I didn't have the whiskey and those kind of things, but it was all about what my degenerate dad taught me and how to go through life canking and not working. Because he always told me, he said, son, work is for the weak. And work is a 4-letter word. Fuck that. Don't ever get a job. And I was like, that means something to me. I grew up and that defines my work ethic to this day. Okay. So I wanted to write a book so I could teach other people how to fuck off, so they don't have to learn how to fuck off in life. They get kind of a head start.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that's where the book. I didn't realize you didn't know.
I had no idea. So you haven't changed one bit since we were.
I wasn't an author when we were young.
No, that's true.
So I did learn how to read and write. So that's good. The Louisiana State Penitentiary system does have some benefit to some of these things, like learning to read and write.
Yeah.
So when I graduated in Angola, I felt like I was capable of doing, a book and some other shit, obviously podcasts. I'm not qualified for this shit, but I'm still going to do it.
You're definitely not qualified for this.
I can fuck with you and get paid. I can, because I've done it for free for 20, 30 years now.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. Right.
So, so going back, I want to get back to this Indian thing. So, because we've never really talked about this. We have a little bit, but like I said, you always talk, like Cody Moore would talk about it.
Oh, Cody will get deep.
But I'm like, if there's two motherfuckers I wouldn't want to fuck with, it's you and Cody. So I can't imagine anyone coming up to you and wanting to get their ass kicked.
Okay, so I got to tell you a story. You're saying this right now. You're saying the same thing that we have friends that have said to us, and they would be like, hey, how does trouble follow you guys? And we're like, do you guys ask for it? We're going out to a bar, and Cody's going to teach me how to play darts, right? I have long hair and I have a choker on, right? And we're going into this bar. And it goes back to the native thing, right? Our buddies are in the car, we're driving, and they're asking us that question. We're like, we don't know. Like, we're thinking the same thing. Why would anybody want to mess with us? My brother is jacked, right? And he's covered in tattoos. And he is the sweetest, most loving guy.
Absolutely.
And he has your back, right? So we're playing darts, and two guys are sitting at the bar, and they're calling me Tonto, Geronimo. They're like trying to get my attention, and they're sitting at the bar, and my other buddies moved down to the end of the bar because these guys are lovers. They're not fighters. And
what town was this in?
We are in California. We're in Encino, I think.
Okay.
And we're at this little bar. And we're in the back area, right? And so the bartender, my brother walks up and goes, can I buy you guys a drink? Because he's trying to diffuse this thing. And they're like, just total ignore, like nothing's happening. And they're not getting the rise out of me. I'm just letting him be, whatever. These two guys can do whatever they want. And then I go to throw the darts, and they're the plastic darts, so they're brave. And they jump out and try and swat one of them out of the air. I had it.
Oh, shit.
I had it. I took and bounced this guy's head right off the machine. And Cody is grabbing the other dude and beating. No joke. Cody used this guy's head to push open the railing, boom, and then is using the door on him, then is punching him in the middle, and I'm stepping over him, tossing this guy out the door, and I drop kick him onto the curb, come back, and I have to convince Cody not to kill him, pull him off. And then we're like, we got to get out of here and call, like they're going to call the police. The owner goes, I saw everything. I saw how you guys handled this. Get your asses back in here. There's a round of drinks on me. We're like, are you just doing this till the cops come? Right. And he goes, no. He goes, and he threw them out. He's like, I saw what was happening. I can't believe they were doing that to you. And again, it was just, I had long hair and a choker on, and
yeah, but even when you had long hair, I didn't just automatically go, oh, he's an Indian or whatever.
Right.
Long dark hair.
right.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
It's crazy. But so anyway, to answer that, I have no idea.
All right.
Just one of them things.
I'm surprised I wasn't there, actually.
Yeah.
I would have been right there in the middle with you fucking brawling, of course.
Yeah, of course.
We've always had each other's backs.
Of course.
But so when politically correct stuff started coming into play, are you offended when someone says Indian versus Native American?
I'm not offended at all, because growing up, that it's what we grew up with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you're little kids, you're playing cowboys and Indians. Right. And then when things change. Now, the one thing that I did agree with, and I remember having a conversation with these people at a dinner table once, and they started to get upset that the Redskins were Washington Redskins had to change their name, and I forget who else, the Cleveland Indians, and they had to change their names, and I said, well, think about this, okay? So I'm like, there were some Italians at the table. I'm like, what if it was the Washington Wops?
Right.
That's what Redskins are. Redskins came. That term came from being. Well, no, it can't. Yeah, that's the cavalry and the cowboys or whatever.
Yeah.
They called them Redskins, and that's what they called them, and so that was their slang term. It was
so
derogatory.
It started out derogatory.
Exactly. So I'm like. And cowboys and Indians, so yeah, it was Indians, whatever, Native American Indian.
Support changing.
I support those changes.
Yeah.
Now keeping the Chiefs, Chiefs is actually a thing of pride.
Right.
It's like being the general. You know what I'm saying? It's like the leader. So
to me, it's a compliment.
It is. It is a huge compliment to be the chief.
Yeah.
But when you're calling somebody chief, or whatever,
right.
And you're trying, like those guys calling me Tonto or Geronimo or whatever, that was annoying.
Yeah, obviously they were doing it to get a reaction.
They were trying to get my, and they got their reaction.
Well, it's like hilarious. People know I'm not known for being politically correct.
You are not politically correct.
But I do like the Native American thing, because it's like the Indian thing was stupid to begin with. It wasn't people from India. We were just dumbasses not realizing that we didn't hit India land and fucking...
exactly.
Right? That was a stupid term anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't properly...
Doesn't fit who we are.
Nation is much cooler.
Exactly.
We're our own nation.
Which is that we are. I'm Lakota Sioux. Sioux Nation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So legally, all these... It fascinates me that all these nations exist within one nation, and people don't realize that. You talk about Vatican City in Italy, but we have a ton of those. And I think it's cool. But... do you think the whole community is still getting jacked?
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah,
come on. And the whole, they get casinos.
Yeah.
Come on. How does that benefit everyone? You ever been to the Sioux reservation in South Dakota? It's horrible.
Rough, right? Yeah.
It's really bad.
It's like third world.
Yeah,
rough,
it's
right?
and it's they call me an apple Indian. I'm red on the outside and white on the inside. Because I don't live there, I'm not there, and that is.
Now, do you take that derogatory?
You know what the thing is, if I was sitting in their shoes, I'd probably think the same thing.
Right.
So it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's all they know. It goes back to what we said. It's what they know. I can't be offended by that. I'm not being taunted by someone standing at my door, every day calling me that or whatever.
Right.
I am trying to be the best version of me. I don't know about you being the best version of you, but hey, you do your best.
Try to be the worst version
exactly,
of myself,
because that works for you. You know what I'm saying?
But no, I totally know what you're saying, and to me, it depends on people's context. If they're trying to fuck with me, or they're being friendly, or their intentions do matter. Of what, you know, if someone calls me cracker as a joke or whatever, yeah, that's great. But if someone's in my face going, "You motherfucking cracker,"
yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different thing. You know, so same with, you know, about anything. Even just, you know, I got old in my name, right? But I'm going to, as soon as I can afford it and have the time, I'm going to sue the federal government for saying that 40 is old, because literally that's how they define someone being old when it comes to ageism.
Really?
Yeah. See, I taught you in HR.
You did.
You think I don't know anything about fucking
old
HR?
man liver. Hey, come on, buddy.
There's a whole thing. You can't discriminate someone with jobs based on their age, and they consider 40 as old. So at 39 and a half, attorneys turn people away when they say, "Oh, I didn't get the job." They're like, "You got to wait till you're 40. That's a true thing."
Wow.
So I'm gonna fucking sue the federal government for calling me fucking old.
There you go.
You can call me old.
Okay.
My fans can call me old. But
You've been old man liver since you were 20.
Well,
though,
that's
so,
true. Yeah.
You know?
I was 32 when we started the whole.
Okay, but here's the thing, you know, like, but what's crazy to me is you probably hung out in HR a ton.
Well,
even though you own the place, you own it.
That was I wasn't by choice. So, you know,
that's what I
was always
mean.
Getting in trouble.
You've learned all the rules.
I've learned a lot of corporations don't like it when you show up to work drunk and high. And I'm fighting that because I am just as effective drunk and high as I am sober. I just want to make the point.
I believe you.
So I don't think, you know, companies should discriminate against drunk and high people. And we shouldn't not lose jobs from it. But that's a whole.
So your employees can show up at the Pioneer drunk and high?
Is this my interview or your interview?
I'm just curious.
Let's go back to that. I believe
if they're listening,
this is what's what with Old Man Liver.
My bad.
Bryan Hopkins. Yeah. You are the guest.
You're right.
Act like a guest.
You're right.
Yeah.
But here, I'm the world's best boss.
Yeah. I've read. Yeah. So getting
there's no
on
whiskey in there.
You know, going on. You grew up. You decided to move to L.A. because that's where it's at with the fucking. You want to do TV.
Yes,
music.
Yes, I did. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I jumped in my car. I was a baseball player when I was living in LA.
Yeah, that's right. You were really good.
Yes,
yeah.
And not to pat myself on the back, but I worked really hard at sports. And so I played football and baseball was going to give me a career. And then I got hurt. And so I came back and tried to play a little more college ball. And it looked like I was going to get drafted by the Reds. And I just decided it's not for me. I jumped in a car and I drove to LA, and not far from our old apartment.
Yeah.
Off the 170, I see the Gold's Gym there, and I know I've made it. Hollywood is like 5 miles away. So I pull over. I'm in North Hollywood, and I pull over. I sleep in that parking lot. I buy a 1-year membership for $400 and some at the Gold's Gym there. And that was my shower. My car, which was a 240Z, was my apartment. And I had to go get a job. So like maybe a month into it, I get a job. And I'm working at Jerry's Famous Deli in Studio City.
Oh, yeah.
And right there in Studio City, I lied and said I had experience. I didn't. And I knew the term Jewish, you know, but I didn't know what a Jewish deli was, and this had
people
like
accusing you of being Jewish now. Like
no,
discriminated against.
You know, no, but I literally had no idea what a matzo ball was or whatever, and they had like 500 items on that menu,
yeah.
And I had to learn how to do this crash course really fast, and I worked there for about 3.5 years, and but I was living in my car for 3.5 months there in that parking lot. And I just knew that it was something I wanted to do. I landed my first job, you know, and my agent and everything.
But wait, you had to move to LA for a reason, right?
I moved to LA to get away from all I knew. All I knew was sports.
So you just wanted a big city with something exciting. And
I knew that I was made for
shit.
something else. Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know what that was. And I landed an agent by walking into an office one day and picking up a buddy's check. And she had me read for a part. Oh, and And so she made me read there. This woman, she owned the place, Natalie Rawson. Thank you, Natalie. I love you. Thank you. You gave me a career. That started my career. I found myself climbing the ladder all the way to William Morris, the biggest agency in the business. And then I quit. I quit acting because I met you guys. And it was crazy. Before you, though, I got discovered by Alan Savory, this young guy. He was a producer, songwriter. And there's a whole nother story in all this, how it all came about. Music chose me, and it just kept pulling at me. And before you know it, like I'm standing on stage in front of 2,000 people. I went to this concert, and because people were like coming up and wanting pictures of me, I don't know who they thought I was.
Oh, shit.
It had happened before. We played Universal. I don't know if I ever told you this story. So I'm playing Universal Studios, okay? I'm not playing it. I'm so used to saying playing. I'm there singing a concert with my agent Natalie, my brother Cody, and he went through this with me, and Dan Livengood, and we went to see a concert, and it was a Kiss FM concert. I went to the bathroom, and I started getting mobbed by all these young girls in the lobby, and the security guards started yelling at me like, "Hey, you can't, what's going on? You can't plug this up. This is dangerous." And I'm like, I don't know who they think I am. So I go back to my seat. I sit down. My brother's like, "What just happened?" Because I just came back. And I told him, like, "Dude, this is crazy." So then all of a sudden, the show's over, and I'm walking out, and it happens again. And the same security guard starts yelling at me. Now the concert's over. My agent's standing there watching this, and they're going absolutely batshit crazy. And my brother starts yelling at the security guard, "What do you want him to do?" So he takes my head and just runs me through the crowd, runs me through the door, and mob mentality. I'm running, and there's that bridge there at Universal. People just turn around and start running towards me. So my brother's like, "This way," and I'm following him, and I've got these boots on, and I'm running, and there's a gate. And the security guys are like, "You can't come through here," because those where the buses are, where they used to give the tours. And we're like, "Tell them," because there's like 300 girls chasing us. And run through the buses, jump up to a fence. There's little slots in it. And I get to it. Cody goes over, Dan goes over. I get to it. Girl grabs me, and I'm like, "What do you want?" She goes, "Give me a hug. You better go." So I hug her, and I jump the fence, and now they're just lined up. And we're on the other side of the fence, and they're just screaming. And I'm like, "What just happened?" My agent saw that. She calls me the next day, and she's like, "Do you play music?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Do you sing?" I'm like, "No." My brother does. My dad does. My cousin does. My uncle does. No. And she's like, this is something we need to talk about. Maybe we should think about getting guitar lessons, whatever. Well, okay, so whatever. So then
all these chicks were just excited
chasing
to see you.
Yes. It was nuts.
Your aura and
I don't know.
And,
So I go to the next concert.
To you as well.
Exactly. Thank you, man. Thank you. No more of this deep inside Bryan stuff. So
it's going to be my next podcast. Deep inside
Bryan. So we go to I go to another concert. I'm in Oxnard or Victory, whatever it was. I can't remember. It was out Oxnard, Santa Barbara area, whatever. I go to this concert, and there's two concerts. There's one in the daytime, one at nighttime. Kiss FM is putting on this concert again, another one. I'm sitting in the audience. It starts to happen again. Security guard grabs me, takes me to the side, opens up a door, stands me in a hallway. I'm standing there. 10 minutes goes by. 15 minutes go by. I'm like, I go to walk back out. He goes, "You can't come out here. You're disrupting the show." And I'm like, I got a ticket. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. He goes, "Hold on." This guy comes walking out of the back. He has a lanyard. He goes, "Who are you?" I said, "No one. My name's Bryan." He goes, "Do you sing? You an actor? What do you do?" I'm like, "No. Like, I just got an agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just moved there. I'm still living in my car." So he goes, "Follow me." Puts a lanyard on me, and that's, the backstage pass thing. And it's my first time backstage now. I'm walking backstage, and he says to me, "Can you remember this?" And all I remember now is the Rainbow Girls. He goes, "Rainbow Girls." He rattles off their label, their single, where they're from. And I'm like, "What? Why? What?" And So there's a host on stage. I won't say his name because he's a Vegas act now, and he's a big time Vegas act. But back then he was young, right? And he calls him off the stage, and he goes, "Give me the mic." He goes, "We're gonna try something," and he sends me out on stage. Tells me again, "Go do this. Introduce the next group." I walk out in front of 2,000 plus people, 2 spotlights on me, and they just start screaming. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm thinking, I did not earn this. I don't know how I got here. I have zero clue why I'm here, but I need to find a way to get back here. And that guy got let go. I hosted the rest of that show and the very next show in the evening. Oh, shit. And so that I was chasing that moment forever. 3 months later, a guy grabs me at Jerry's Famous Deli, the place I'm working at night. Yeah. I would work from midnight to 7 in the morning and sleep in my car and in the daytime and shower at the gym and work out and go to the movies for TV. And he grabs me and says, "Hey, what's your name?" I said, "Bryan." He goes, "You a singer?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "That's funny because you've been singing walking past me all night long." So I was working in the back room. He goes, "We need to talk." I went to his house and we ended up writing a song. And then we played that song for a guy named Mars Lazar. And Mars Lazar is a guy who was producing with Trevor Horn, a guy named Seal. Seal's debut record.
I've heard of Seal.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. And so that's how I got into, that career. I'm getting...
But you did do a couple acting gigs, because I remember on Saved by the Bell and some of that stuff.
I played Vince Montana.
Yeah. Here's Bryan Hopkins on Saved by the Bell.
Shut up. I'm making out with Kelly Kapowski. Yeah, it's tough.
That was a rough gig you had.
Yeah, it really was. And
I felt horrible for you.
Couple lines,
Yeah. Hey.
And they brought me back. I did the college years as well, which was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
But
from there it was music from then on.
From that point on, I pursued music, but then I met you in the park. And that's when changed everything, because
that sounds a little gay now, doesn't it?
It was,
and I'm not saying there's a problem
it wasn't a glory hole, but
there was no board. I'll give it that. But yeah, and then it was all over, and then you've done all kinds of
something about
projects.
George Michael in the Beverly Hills Park or something.
Those were different people.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
I even am cognizant enough.
Okay,
to know that
was not us.
So,
so then I met you guys in the park, and
awesome.
I wanted to be on stage so bad. And here was the thing, and I'm going to take this back. So remember Happening Harry, who booked our very first show.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so he books our first show, and we're at the Ice Tie Cafe. And I don't know how I remember that right now.
Right. What an obscure fucking...
It was, but it was on...
Name something, the Ice Tie Cafe on Hollywood Boulevard, or Sunset, or whatever the fuck.
It was Hollywood. It was Hollywood, right across from the Chinese Man Theater.
Yeah.
So I remember us playing there, and the place was packed. Man, I barely moved. I stood on stage. You're rocking out. Like, you guys had been doing it for so long. You've been playing.
No, dude, you were good.
But we filled that room.
Oh, yes,
it was insane. So Happening Harry, about 3 years ago, before COVID hit, I'm at NAMM. And my bus is parked out front of NAMM. It's the biggest music convention around. And I'm out on tour with Three Doors Down at this time. And he sees me, and he sees me come off my bus, and he's like, "Whoa, I remember you." And I'm like, "Yeah, it happened in Harry." I didn't even know how I remembered him.
Yeah.
And he smelled like weed. It's just poof coming off on me. And he's like, "I remember you, man." He goes, "Back then, you could fill a room." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, thanks." He goes, "You were not good." And I was like, "Bro,
you are not
And he
nice.
goes, "You killing it now. You're killing," and I'm like, "Thanks."
You can still fill a room. They're just larger
rooms, but literally, it was really cool to have that.
Circling back around. That's fucking nuts, man.
And I'm gonna take you back.
That dude's still alive.
I want to take you back. Being Native American Indian, right? That's how this all started. You brought this up, right? And so in our culture, there's things that you have dreams. We all dream when we sleep. I had a vision one day, and I knew it. I'm 18 years old. I'm playing baseball in college, and I have a dream that is so vivid that I knew when I woke up I had a vision. And I told my dad, and I'm like, "I don't know why this is going on, but
never told me.
But this is a vision. And so what it was in my sleep, they walked me into a room kind of like this. And they said, this is the green room. We're going to come get you when we're 5 minutes out. And in my dream, I'm like, this room's not green, right? This is wild. There's food in here. What am I doing here, right? They come to get me. They said, okay, here we go. Walk me down a hall, walk me to the left, go through a doorway. Through that doorway, there's a band in this room. There's a cage to the right. I can see through over here, there is a host and a table, a guest. It is not Johnny Carson. And at that time when I was a kid, Johnny Carson was the host of The Tonight Show. It's not Johnny Carson, right? And I'm walking past the band, past the guitar player, the bass player, and I walk up to the mic. And I'm like thinking, what am I doing here? What's going on? I don't know how to do this. What? The gate rises, and now there's bleacher seats. And it starts at the end here and goes around like so. So that makes sense to me because they're not set up. Everybody's turning this way and looking at us. The band starts to play, and I start to sing. And it was a moment, and I never forgot. I woke up, and I'm like, that was real.
And you were 15 years old?
I was 18 and playing college ball, and knew that was some sort of vision. And then I'm at Marina Del Rey, and this woman walks up to me, stops me. She's a card reader. She just read my buddy's and his brother's, palms, and she just follows me, and she goes, I have no idea what you do. But there's this thing about you. And music has to be your thing. Wow. Then I met you guys.
That's fucking
And then
crazy.
Here I am, and I've played the Rose Bowl. I have played.
And nothing compares to the Ice Thai Cafe across
Ice Thai Cafe,
theater.
300 people.
Did people think you were Chinese and
exactly,
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dude, so literally
that's neat.
So here I am, and I get to do what I do, and and I have the podcast now, and I get to share some. I don't really get to talk about myself. I talk about my guests,
That's why it's fun, nice to hear. And I've already heard some shit that you've never told me.
I've never told you. Yeah, cool. But there's some things I don't want to tell you because,
Oh,
because you will.
So tell me one of those. Tell me something you've never told me that I wouldn't know.
I just did.
Oh, that's true. That was a big one. Oh,
yeah, it was a huge one. And you want to? I can tell you another one.
Yeah.
But no, I'm kidding.
No. Oh, shit. You're going to edit me picking my nose and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
None of that's going to show up, right? Okay, cool.
If you don't talk, most of the time the camera's not on you. I'm teaching you right now.
Oh, good, thanks.
You can pick your nose, scratch your nuts.
Good.
Take off your pants, whatever.
How do you even know?
I couldn't believe when we came in here, you thought that you could do this pantsless.
Well, that
because,
was the whole...
and no one was going to see you. I couldn't believe that.
The bottom of my... See,
yeah.
I could
because I know that you did your other podcasts that were not video in your
true.
tidy whities. And
I didn't even have that. So I was wearing like 2 pieces of pound cake and a strap on. So I'm going to get to some other stuff before we got to finish up.
Sure.
So one of the big events in your life, I know, is 10-1 and your experience at the Route 91 Harvest Festival.
Okay.
And this was the horrible mass shooting but one amazing thing came out of it, and you met Nicole.
I met Nicole there, yes.
So
she was in the midst of all that craziness. She and her friend, Nicole and Nicole, that's where their names. I had just met Nicole the night before in the same area. And because when you go to a concert, you kind of find your spot, you know, where you want to be. Yeah. And we had just come from backstage, and I met her. I walked up behind her and I said, "Oh, it's my Echoes," because it was Nicole and Nicole. So I was just joking with them. And then
that's where
it came from.
Comes from. Okay. Yeah.
I call them my Echoes.
Post that.
Exactly. And so because when all that stuff went down, like in short, the people were going down around us. Ben gets hit in the arm. I grabbed the 2 girls in front of me, and at that moment I had decided that was my focus. Like, look, I had ran already, looked back and she's frozen, and there's thousands of people running over the top of each other. And I grabbed her and I said, look at me. I'll get you out. Come on, just stay with me. And I'm trying to keep her calm the entire time, her and a friend. So in short, there were other people involved and people that I helped and put them in a freezer, put them over the wall. She helped me put them over the wall.
All that was on the news.
Yeah, and then let them out by foot. And then there was more to it. But dealing with all of that after it, like the PTSD, we were just having a conversation with somebody off the air who is a soldier, talking about those things and how we deal with it and how you can't just that just brings back stuff. And
I'm
so
sure you have nightmares.
I do have nightmares, and I have nightmares of not picking people up.
Oh, that's fucked.
But my focus was I'm getting them out. Now 2 turned into 5. I had 5 people to get out.
Wow.
And in my nightmares, my nightmares are not picking somebody up off the ground and carrying them out with me.
Yeah.
And that's, but I didn't know where it was coming from. And I made a promise the moment I grabbed their hand that I'm going to get you out. And so I needed to do that first. And so that for me was the important thing. But my nightmares are because I didn't stop, because that's somebody's sister, mom, brother.
That's messed up.
You know what I'm saying? That is that's what scares me. Yeah. So, but anyway, coming from, not to make light of that, but I've talked about it hundreds of times, and it plays like a movie in my head, and it doesn't feel real because I got through it. And it's one of those things where I can departmentalize it. I feel like I was watching me go through it. And so dealing with that, Nicole couldn't sit here and talk about this. She had a different view of all this. She had a different thing, but me, it was helping people, and that's what matters. But then how we dealt with it, we ended up falling in love. And what's crazy is that I remember going out on tour, and it was going to be gone for a while. And I knew that we had been through something, like that. We're going to have this bond. That's just the way it's going to be. So I remember telling the bus driver, hey, I forgot something at the grocery store. And he's like, okay, everybody's still loading up. So I raced to her house, knocked on her door, and said, look, she had survived that with me. She almost died of a disease in November, the following November. Yeah. I had pulled her up on stage multiple times in front of thousands of people. We did a show, Jewel opened up for us. 2,000 people, a show for the city, and we closed with a song we wrote called The Fight about that night.
That's badass.
And so that whole idea of bond and what we've been through, I said, now you're going to meet somebody. And that somebody is going to have to answer to me. We've been through way too much.
Oh, shit.
Okay? So you're going to stand up and get married and whatever, but that person's going to have to be good to you because he has me to answer to now. And we talked about I'm not a small guy, and it doesn't matter if I was 5 foot. That's I would have given my life that night for a stranger.
Yeah.
So and that's what I told her. And then I went out on tour. And then at the end of the tour, near the end, she had surprised me and showed up to the tour and planted a kiss on me in front of everyone. And I'm like, whoa. And then 2 weeks later, I fly her out to Chicago on the last 2 days of the tour. And it was the best day of my entire life. And we've been together ever since. And it's That's 5
amazing.
Years. Yeah.
That's a big way to start a relationship.
It's like the movie Speed. You know what I'm saying? Where they, you're like thrown together.
That's awesome.
Or something. So yeah.
Well, I hope the good visions can weigh out the nightmares and stuff that you have.
I appreciate that.
No,
coming from Old Man Liver.
Well, yeah, I do, because I see I know you have orbs and spirits looking out after you.
It's
true. Know that a lot of people may not know that about Bryan and Elvis Monroe, that he. Can you tell us about the orbs?
Yeah, it's crazy. I have videos that I have a little video that I put together. I'll give it to you when we're done, of like some of these things. When we talk about this stuff, they show up and they'll just pop up and appear about a foot or two, and then they're gone.
No, this has always been fascinating with me when you've told me about this.
Yeah.
But it's even more fascinating after I've acquired the Pioneer Saloon, and it's a freaking.
It is a ghost bar. It's known. I want to come out there at night, dude.
Dude, you don't even bother with that. Come to my house down the street in Good Springs.
Yeah.
I bought a house that's even older than the Pioneer and more fucking haunted. Every time I stay there, somebody's fucking with me, waking me up at night, calling my name, moving shit around, opening doors. Like, I'll hear people in the kitchen. I'll go at 3 a.m. I'll go out. Nobody's fucking there, man. And the shit I've seen oh my God. Yeah. So like, so I'm
you get it. So, yeah.
By that,
so I'll leave you with this though. Like when it comes to that, like Nicole, so So I talked about Chicago. The most beautiful theater I've ever played is at the Rialto Theater in Joliet, Illinois. That's where she wrote, she came to that show. And we walk around this theater and I'm like, this place is beautiful. And I said, whew, I feel something here, right? I really do feel something here.
Yeah.
And she just said, I love you in person for the very first time. And I could see her go,
you just scared me.
I love you. Yeah, I know. No, you can't have that.
I want to run from the studio. That shit.
So she's like, who did I just say I love you to? Here's a guy saying I feel something, right? So the last photo we take of the night, it's Ben, myself, and Matt, our fill-in guitar player. We take a picture with Nicole, and right above my head, in a live photo, this orb just appears right above my head. I'll show you when we're done.
Oh, shit.
And it disappears right above my head, showing her that it's what I said. And then somebody comes up to us and says, hey, by the way, did you know that they keep one seat? There's a sold out show tonight, but there's one seat open for the ghost and you can't sit in his seat at the theater.
Shit,
and I'm like,
cool.
wow. So now flash forward, we're back here in Vegas, and she says to me, it's not that I don't believe you. And I know I saw that, but I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm not asking you to. This is just who I am and what I feel and whatever. So she goes, I just need a little proof. 2 days go by. We're in her room. I'm walking upstairs and we're going out. She's walking towards me and she sees a flash of green light and we both hear a voice. And the voice says, hello.
Oh, shit.
And it's a little girl's voice about 4 feet off the ground. And she goes, did you just hear? I said, hello? Yeah, say hello back. And she's like freaking out. No, you have to get out. You got to get out, right? And she's like, that can't be here, right? Not in my house, a brand new house. She just bought this house. And I'm like, it's all okay. Nothing around me has been scary. It's all been supportive, whatever. So, but you wanted proof. Yeah. She's never said that again.
Oh, shit.
And the owner of this place, I just was telling him that story the other day. John Orlando, who owns Sticky Paws. And true story. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to come to your place. I want to come to the Pioneer,
we're gonna
bro.
We're going to close it up and do some weird shit.
Have to. There's a band called the Moonshine Bandits. Do you know who they are?
Yeah,
they're a biker band. Yeah. Like they rap and they're like this red dirt country rap band.
Cool. Big
following, right? And Bird is his name. He's the singer in the band. He's like, bro, that's how we connected. He's like,
cool, man.
He's like, but evil shit is around me. And he's like, my dad was a minister. And he's like, there's evil shit.
No, you got positive
exactly.
shit around you.
And he sees that, which is really why he told me that. So that's how we became friends. Then I told him, you bought the Pioneer. I said, Old Man Liver just bought the Pioneer. We got to go out there and we got to do some ghost hunting.
Yeah, fucking
just shut it down.
Let's do it, man.
Play some cards right at the table.
Done.
And
we'll record it. Maybe that'll be
that's
part
what I'm
of our
saying.
Show. Yeah, that's fucking badass,
dude. That would be killer. We should do an episode out there.
Done.
Yes.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up. I just want to thank Bryan Hopkins, lead singer of Elvis Monroe, and the host of Hero's Journey. He has his own podcast. Check it out, and be sure and drink Old Man Liver whiskey. because clearly I'm doing this shit not just to shoot the shit with Bryan, but I need to push my products and fuck.
You do. How can you buy cocaine if you can't?
You can't. Yeah, you gotta put. Oh, I should do my own cocaine,
dude.
I have a branded whiskey, a branded beer. Cocaine's next.
Cocaine.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is genius. Hey, this has been.
Do I get a part of that?
We got to go. This has been What's What with Old Man Liver. We'll see you next time. Thank you.